Mientras tú me quieras, yo estaré presente cerca de tu casa para platicar. A mí no me asustan tipos lenguas largas que solo presumen por apantallar. Yo soy de los hombres que no temen nada y aunque esté perdido no me sé rajar. Pretendientes quieren que me muera, yo te lo aseguro que los burlaré. Yo seré tu dueño, aunque no lo quieran, y el que se atraviese te lo quitaré. Mañana sin falta aquí estaré presente, ya sabes la hora, no me quedes mal. De lo que te dije, no tengas pendiente. Solo Dios la vida me puede quitar. A mí no me asustan tipos lenguas largas que solo presumen por apantallar. Yo soy de los hombres que no temen nada y aunque esté perdido no me sé rajar.
Sí, Señor.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Juan Contreras. I am brand new to the district, Ysleta ISD. I will be at Hanks High School, Desert View Middle School, and Indian Ridge Middle School. We have somebody that's going to sing for us. Her name is Maritza Loya, and she's from Edgemere Elementary.
Morning, everyone. I am from Riverside High School. A ver si me ayudan a cantar esta. Ahí les va. Yo sé bien que estoy afuera, pero el día en que yo me muera, sé que tendrás que llorar.
Llorar, 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 llorar.
Dirás que no me quisiste, pero vas a estar muy triste y así te vas a quedar. Con dinero y sin dinero, yo hago siempre lo que quiero y mi palabra es la ley. No tengo trono ni reina, ni nadie que me comprenda, pero sigo siendo el rey. ¡Uy! ¡Y arriba México, sí señor! Una piedra en el camino me enseñó que mi destino era rodar y rodar.
Rodar y rodar, rodar y rodar.
Después me dijo un arriero,
Arriero.
que no hay que llegar primero, pero hay que saber llegar. A ver, digan. Con dinero y sin dinero. Venga, venga. Y mi palabra es la ley. No tengo trono ni reina, ni nadie que me comprenda, pero sigo siendo el rey. Y señor, gracias.
Our next singer is from Eastwood Middle. Please, big round of applause for Cindy Cavada. And I want to take this moment to thank Dr. De La Torre for bringing me on board. This is the best time I've had before school actually starts. Thank you so much for bringing me on board. I really appreciate it.
Why don't you tell them where you came from? You should ask him where he came from. Sale.
Aunque malgaste el tiempo sin mi cariño, y aunque no quieras este amor que yo te ofrezco, aunque no quieras pronunciar mi humilde nombre, de cualquier modo yo te seguiré queriendo. Yo sé que nunca tú podrás jamás amarme, y a tu cariño llegué demasiado tarde. No me desprecies, no es mi culpa, no seas malo, porque tú eres de quien sueño enamorarme. ¿Qué daño puedo hacerte con quererte? Si no me quieres tú, yo te comprendo perfectamente, sé
Ese bonito aplauso para Cintia Cavada. ¿Qué les parece?
Tal vez mañana yo despierte sola. Por el momento quiero estar soñando. No me despiertes, tú no ves que así yo soy feliz. Consciente estoy, mi amor, que no eres para mí. No hay necesidad que me desprecies. Tu ponte quizás que harías. La diferencia entre tú y yo tal vez sería, corazón, que yo en tu lugar, que yo en tu lugar sí te amaría. ¡Ay, chiquilla!
¡Bravo! ¡Cintia! Bueno, antes de terminar esta mañana, before we finish this morning, I want to give a special thanks to Marty Olivas, Fine Arts, as well as Scott Thorson. Thank you so much for putting this together for us and giving us this opportunity to play for our fellow teachers and members of YASD. Thank you so much. Ysleta!
Let's go, Big Ray! Por mi tierra bendita que es Chihuahua, a esta tierra tan llena de alegría, ahí va la vida mía, ahí va mi corazón. Corazón que nació para ser rebelde y que sabe perder cuando se pierde, y que grita contento cuando gana. Que viva mi Chihuahua, que es puro corazón. Viva Chihuahua, viva Chihuahua, tierra que sabe a cariño, tierra que huele a sotón. Viva Chihuahua, viva Chihuahua, tierra bendita bañada de luna y de sol.
¡Que suenen esos gritos, sí, señor! ¡A ver esas palmas!
A ver, voy a tomar un poquito menos. Aquí tenemos a Manny Talamán de Stellar High School. Maritza Loya, HB Elementary. Osvaldo Altamirano, Desert View, and Tierra del Sol, and Hanks. Cindy Cavada, Eastwood Middle. Gabriel Prado del Valle High School. Amelia García, Ysleta High School. Doug Brown, Hanks. Javier Villarreal, Marion Manor. Y Ángel Hernández
mi tierra norteña, india vestida de sol, brava como un león herido y dulce como una canción. ¡Qué bonito es Chihuahua! ¡De arriba Chihuahua, sí señor! ¡Hola, my Rangers! Casi estamos en Chihuahua. Ya me voy, ya me despido, no se les haya olvidar. Paguen de buena Chihuahua, que es valiente, noble y leal.
Soy de Merito, Chihuahua, mi semblante lo dirá.
Merito, Chihuahua, mi semblante lo dirá.
Y esos son de los tecanos de pura formalidad. Y cuando tiendo la mano, la doy con sinceridad. Huya, 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 ah.
Huya, 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 huya,
Gracias. Thank you very much. A ver, parece que quieren otra. Looks like you would like another one. But you're going to help us sing. You're going to help us sing, all right? Nos van a ayudar a cantar esta, and the words are easy. All you're going to sing is volver, volver.
Ay, amor.
Chicas del coro. Este amor apasionado anda todo alborotado por volver. Voy camino a la locura y aunque todo me tortura, sé querer. Nos dejamos hace tiempo, pero me llegó el momento de perder. Tú tenías mucha razón, le hago caso al corazón y me muero por volver. Hoy parece que traen ganas de cantar. A tus brazos otra vez. Llegaré hasta donde estés. Yo sé perder. Quiero volver, volver, volver. Y arriba las mujeres. Nos dejamos hace tiempo, pero me llegó el momento caso al corazón y me muero por volver. A ver, vamos a ver quién canta más fuerte, si las mujeres o los hombres. Primero las mujeres. A ver si es cierto que las maestras son las más gritonas.
¡Chicas del coro!
Venga las mujeres, venga primero, venga. Y volver, volver, volver.
¿Cómo?
No, parece que no.
¡Fuera!
Cierto.
¡Fuera!
A ver los maestros. A ver los hombres.
Pero que suenen machos, que
Son
suenen
pocos,
machos.
pero sinceros.
No somos muchos, pero somos machos. Venga los hombres, venga. Y volver, volver.
Macho menos. Macho menos.
¿Oyeron? Ahí está el ejemplo.
Esos son
¿Sabes
hombres.
qué, Ángel? Creo que ahora no cenan. No dinner for them tonight.
Oh, mamen. Vamos a ver otra oportunidad para las mujeres. Yo creo que ya les entró ganas. Venga. Y volver, volver.
¡Volver! ¡Eso!
Siempre ganan las mujeres.
Todo el mundo.
No queda duda.
Bueno, pues venga todo el mundo cantando, venga. Todos, los hombres y las mujeres. Y los otros. Venga. Y volver, volver. Volver a tus brazos otra vez. Llegaré hasta donde estés. Yo sé perder, quiero volver, volver. Volver. Gracias, Ysleta, gracias.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. All through my city, all through my home. We're flying up, no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. my blood is rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop, stop, stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move where you already know, so just imagine.
Welcome to the Ysleta Independent School District Convocation.
So after that, do I just say, please be seated?
Welcome to the Ysleta Independent School District Convocation. It is a tradition in our district to honor our nation with the presentation of colors and the singing of the national anthem, as well as the Pledge of Allegiance, the Texas Pledge, and a moment of silence. At this time, we ask that you please silence your cell phones. Please stand for the presentation of colors. The colors will be presented by the Eastwood High School Color Guard. The national anthem will be performed by Riverside High School student Celeste Herrera. Eastwood High School JROTC Cadet Celeste Roque will lead us in the pledges and a moment of silence.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join us in the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. Please remain standing while the color guard exits.
Great job. Great job.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Xavier de la Torre.
How's that for the start of a new school year? Don't you ever imply that we're not the district. That was awesome. That was amazing. That's how you start a school year off. And I think what's most telling is the level of talent that we have in this school district, not just in the classroom, but outside the classroom. It touches everyone. It touches our leadership. It certainly touches our faculty, staff, as you just witnessed, and we have that same level of promise, potential, and talent in the 41,200 students that we are getting ready to serve. But what an amazing, amazing display of what we're capable of and what we plan to achieve over the next 12 months. This is the 5th year that I've had the privilege, and it's a privilege because watching them perform can be extremely humbling. I'm not sure I'd put them in front of me again. I think I'd let them follow up in the evening somewhere with refreshments. They can't do that to me again. That was amazing. But what a great way to start off a school year. We're going to talk about, I think, some important things. We're going to recognize, celebrate some accomplishments and some achievements, but before we get started, none of it could be possible without the support of a high-performing, student-centered, cohesive group of trustees who also happen to be Region 19 Honor Board of the Year for the 2017-18 school year. I'm not surprised. They give myself, members of the superintendent's cabinet, our leadership team, our principals, teachers, and all staff, unprecedented levels of support. And that's why we find ourselves where we find ourselves today, and that is being the district. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about what it means to be the district, because it isn't exactly what people assume. At one time, it was kind of a marketing thing, and it was attractive, it was sexy, but it's become so much bigger than that, so much more important. And I want to share a story with you. But before we do that, let me begin by introducing the Region 19 Honor Board President from the Bel Air High School Learning Community, Miss Connie Woodruff. Connie's been part of the Bel Air tapestry for decades. She single-handedly tried to stave off declining enrollment. 10 students at Bel Air High School. Connie has 10 children. Go Big Red. They can't remember when there wasn't a Woodruff in the school. This will be the first year, right? I don't know how to make it. From the Ysleta High School Learning Community, our Vice President, Sotero Ramirez III. Give him a warm welcome. once an Indian. I know. Treasurer, Eastwood High School Learning Community, Mr. Michael Rosales. From what he will tell you is the only side, Riverside High School Learning Community, Charlie Bustillos. And from the park, Parkland High School Learning Community, Mr. Richard Kudir. They're not with us, but they deserve a big shout out. From the Hanks High School Learning Community, Cruz Ochoa. And from the Del Valle High School Learning Community, Miss Catherine Lucero. Along this journey for the last, I guess I've been here about 4.5 years, we've had some supporters who have been consistent from day one, who have been very involved and engaged, and so we thought we'd invite them today. I'd like to have you please acknowledge and welcome Mr. Wayne Thornton. He's with us this fine morning. Lisa Montelongo is with us this morning. From Viva, Patrick Brown, big part of the 2015 bond. Our Region 19 Executive Director, Dr. Armando Aguirre. And a special guest, from right here at the University of Texas, El Paso. Let me be the first to introduce you to the new athletic director, Mr. Sensor. Please, Jim Sensor. I'm not supposed to do this, but indulge me, okay? Because without them, marginal at best. They are my foundation, the bedrock. That's who I anchor to. You know what? They're the yeast in my bread. That's cute, huh? That's clever, like all those charter school names. Idea, Magnolia, Kip, Ace. Well, let me introduce you to my Chief Operations Officer, Mr. Patrick O'Neill. He's with us. Director, District Projects, District Initiatives, Ms. Abigail Tarango. The bosses of the little people responsible for elementary education, Brenda Chacon, Dr. Brenda Chacon. And Mrs. Becky O'Neill. Middle Schools Associate Superintendent, Dr. Catherine Kennedy. High Schools Associate Superintendent, Dr. Robert Basurto. Our Chief Financial Officer, Lindley Leeper. Chief Compliance Officer, Rosemary Mireles Menchaca. Chief Human Resource Officer, Bobby Russell Garcia. Our lawyer. Watch it. Our lawyer, Susan Austin. And a special thanks to our Chief Communications Officer who helps coordinate all of this, works closely with UTEP, Ms. Patricia Ayala. All right, we're going to get to meet the rest of you in a minute, but here's the story that I was going to tell you. So I play baseball in a 50 and over league. I know it's hard to believe. I know, but I do, right? And I play with this group of guys. Most of them are from the west side, but a lot of them actually went to school in in the district, right? You got guys like Don Wilson. I think he's an El Paso ISD longtime coach. He's on my team. I think he's like 67, 68. Mark Miller went to Eastwood High School, played professional baseball, right? So this great group of guys that I play with initially used to, hard to believe, make fun of the district, right? That was, what's that all about? What's that supposed to mean, right? And so every week we play on Saturdays, we play at Ascarate Park, right? Baseball's a hard game. Playing baseball at Ascarate Park, that's dangerous. Run a rake through that field just once in a while, right? They said, X, what do you play? Initially, I said, I play middle infield, shortstop, second base, high school, college. I got this. I went out and looked at the field, and I said, I'm a left center fielder. I'm way out there. I like fly balls, right? So every week is a daily report, and we've got a fantastic fan base, loyal, there every week, all 5 of them. Never miss a game. Best day of the week to get away from work, right? But the one thing that I have to do is I have to explain everything that happened in the media and in the newspaper every week to these guys who started calling our district the Ysleta district. That's when you know that they've been away for a while, right? And what I noticed was that week after week, I'd kind of tell them what was going on. They weren't always terrific weeks, but the majority of them were. And little by little, they dropped the Ysleta piece, and they'd simply say, hey, I saw you on TV, or I heard that the district is introducing this, and I heard the district is doing that. And so what I'm telling you is that it's got momentum. Most people who belong to Creed, most people I run into are starting to call it the district. It isn't a place, right? That's the misconception. Being part of the district isn't a place. It isn't 1,600 Sims. It isn't any one school, right? The district is you and I, and people like you and I, right? That lay it all down on the line to help 41,300 kids be successful, right? The district's the Bobbies, the Beckys, the Brendas, the district's the Tony Acuñas, Charlie Garcias, and Penny Bankstons, right? The district is Coach Perales and Coach Carter. The district just performed for you, right? The district speaks to people who absolutely have decided to dedicate themselves to these students, right? And there are implications. How we do with these students will affect society. It'll affect our economy. It'll affect all facets of life. So the work you're doing, I know I've told you this before, is the absolute most important work that you can do, right? And you're about to see what's happening. I'm just curious. Is the Ysleta High School learning community here with us today? Where? I'll tell you a little bit about the Ysleta High School learning community. You know the new 8F rankings, right? The new 8F grading? We've got 2 elementary schools in that learning community that received an A grade. Let's give it up for Ysleta Elementary School and South Loop Elementary School. A schools. Congratulations. Also, a lot of recognition at Ysleta High School for their performance on end-of-course exams, especially in the area of algebra. Congratulations to Ysleta High School. But there are also amazing things going on at Riverside High School and their learning community. What's happening out there? And let's give Ramona Elementary School a shout out for being an A-rated, A-graded elementary school, best little secret in town. Ramona Elementary School, congratulations. Valle Verde Early College High School, rated A. Give them a round of applause. Parkland, are you here? Parkland High School Learning Community. Congratulations to Parkland High School. North Star, are you with us? Rated A. Hanks High School. And congratulations to Glen Cove Elementary School and Vista Hills Elementary School, both receiving a grade of A. And how about a warm welcome to Mr. Enrique Herrera, new principal, Hanks High School. Eastwood High School Learning Community. Welcome back. Congratulations, Eastwood Knowles International School, Eastwood Middle School. Ariel Washington is an A school. And Alicia Chacon is an A school. Thought I forgot you. I circled back and gotcha. Del Valle High School Learning Community. Congratulations, Lancaster Elementary School. Camino Real. And Mission Valley. Also a big shout out to Miss Aida Perales, who's about to open Del Valle Middle School. It's going to be an exciting year in the Del Valle High School learning community. And last, but certainly not least, some refer to it as Big Red. Bel Air High School Learning Community. Welcome back! Congratulations to the Young Women's Leadership Academy, rated A, Bel Air Learning Community. Also shout out to Mr. Dana DeRowan and the team that's about to open Bel Air Middle School for us next Monday. Next Monday. They all have success stories, but it isn't possible without the help, the support, the advocacy of all the people behind the scenes, right? The people that we owe a great debt of gratitude for their continuous and consistent support. Please help me welcome Service Center of the Ysleta Independent School District. Transportation, food services. Give them a round of applause. Custodial. Welcome and thank you. And finally, let's welcome the folks at 1600 Sims, our central office staff. Welcome! Thomas Mann. And before you get too comfortable, I forgot we're opening a new elementary school next Monday, Thomas Manor Elementary School. Another beautiful facility for the children in the Riverside High School learning community. Look forward to coming out and visiting with them. Beautiful facility. All right. So not in the too distant past, the board and I, members of cabinet, we got together. Oh, you want me to let the bands out? All right. Better turn the lights on so they don't trip. Again, welcome back. Incredibly encouraged, proud, and privileged to be superintendent in the district. Got together with our Board of Trustees recently to revisit Vision 2020. It's our strategic action plan. It has been our blueprint, our guide, our map in terms of how we've operated over the past 4.5 years. It outlines our priorities, what's important, goals, targets, student outcomes, the reason we're in business, the reason all of you are here today. And absolutely. And the one thing you need to know about this board is is about students. They're student-centered. It's about student outcomes. And high-stakes testing certainly plays a role in that, but it's not the only thing we want to give students. We want to provide students a well-rounded education. It certainly includes academic achievement. So in revisiting the goals, priorities, etc., one cannot ignore the fact that the Texas Education Agency and Mike Morath have introduced a new accountability system referred to as A to F, right? And I came out in the spring, and I think I visited every school, and we had a faculty meeting, and we talked about A to F and what those rankings and those grades mean and what they're intended to do. And what they're intended to do is incite emotion, right? In the past, we've had terms of art like exemplary, distinguished, approaching, met. To the parents and the community, a lot of those terms are foreign. They don't resonate, right? They don't incite a response. But what TEA and Commissioner Morath, who used to be on the board in the Dallas Independent School District and is all about competition, school choice, vouchers, charters, right? Let's light a fire under these independent school districts. They're not performing well. They're not providing the product that colleges and universities need. And when they don't do that, then colleges and universities spend a lot of time with remediation. And then even when they graduate, right, only 1 in 5 graduate in some areas. And our economy cannot thrive with those dismal statistics, those numbers. So it's important that we find a way to motivate, inspire our independent school districts to work harder and to be more effective in the four corners of the classroom, because it's good for our economy, it's good for society, social mobility, all of that. But in order to get people thinking about charter schools like IDEA, Magnolia, KIPP, Summit, Flintstones, whatever we want to come up with, right? We've got to introduce an accountability system that the parents can immediately recognize and or determine whether or not their child or children are attending a good school. And by virtue of most parents, if not all parents, having had some access and exposure to the American public school system, parents understand that an A is good and that an F is bad, right? And the last thing a parent wants to do is go to a quinceañera knowing that their children attend a school that was rated an F and running into a comadre whose children go to a school that's rated A or B and be embarrassed, right? That might get parents to think about, at best, moving from one school in our district to another school in our district. At worst, it could compel parents to move their children from this district to another district, or to a charter school, or to rely on online learning because it's safe and secure in the living room, and schools are becoming less and less safe and secure. So what's important for the board and I to impress upon you is that we have to compete every day to keep families and their children in our district, and the only way to do that is to perform well, not just academically, but well in all facets of our operation. That's why 2 years ago we introduced the Service Excellence Initiative and took a strong interest in training everyone to exceed our clients, parents and students, expectations, right? And that's why we work so hard to be the district, right? And I can tell you that the board understands and appreciates that the public school system is under attack, and they've laid out expectations for me that become cabinet's expectations, and ultimately they become your principals, yours, and then even parents are being asked to help support our public school system. And we do it better than most. There's absolutely no doubt about that, and I'll talk to you a little bit about some of those accomplishments and achievements. But you're doing great work in the classroom. Now, the new accountability system is made up of really 3 domains or 3 elements. The first we're very familiar with. It's academic achievement, and the idea is that students take an assessment and that they're expected to pass the assessment to receive approaching standard. If they perform a little bit better than that, it's referred to as meeting the standard. That means that if you're in 3rd grade and you read at the 3rd grade level and you demonstrate that, then you're meeting the 3rd grade reading standard. And then there's mastering the standard. And that means not only did you meet the standard, but you actually outperformed most students in the area of reading in 3rd grade. They've determined you've mastered the standard. And all of that, I think, resonates well with me and with the board, and we understand and we embrace that. Just like you embrace it, because if you look at your performance in Domain 1 in terms of how many students are approaching standards, the percentage is high. Meeting standard, it's a little less, but it's still respectable. And then, of course, mastering the standard is where we want to get to, because mastering a standard means that you are college career ready. And ultimately, that's what our community wants from us. They want our students to be college career ready. They don't want them tied to remediation courses for 2 years. They want them to be ready when they graduate from the Ysleta Independent School District. And the greatest predictor of that readiness is mastering the standard. And so what the board has said to me and to members of my leadership team that I've shared with your principals is that we're all about meeting standards and mastering standards. I'm not even sure what approaching a standard means, right? That's what we're about, meeting and mastering, and that hasn't changed. Because part of what I'm talking to you about has to do with what you can expect from us in 18, 19, and what are those expectations and why. Now that's the easy part. Like I said, this district has a long history of being high performing, especially when you compare it to other districts across the state of Texas that share the same demographic that we have here, right? And if you're not familiar with our demographic, I'll make it easy for you, all right? 9 out of every 10 students are Latino. 8 out of every 10 students are socioeconomically disadvantaged. But I caution you relative to what it means to be socioeconomically disadvantaged, right? A family of 4 making almost $40,000 a year is considered socioeconomically disadvantaged because they qualify for a free and or reduced lunch. I promise you, we have families of 4 who are living on $11,000 a year. And so there's a significant difference between the resources, the experience, and the exposure that that family has when compared to a family of 4 making $40,000 a year. But on paper and in terms of accountability, both students are viewed as equal, right? And that's something that will be on our legislative agenda when we go back to Austin and start promoting what we need in border communities like El Paso, Texas. Third thing I can tell you is that 1 of every 4 students are either non-English proficient when they come to us, or at best limited English proficient. Almost 2 out of 10 students, probably 12, 13% of our students, have been identified as having special needs. Right? And what makes this different than the big idea is that we embrace the opportunity to work with all students, not just some students, not just students who meet eligibility criteria, but all students. That's who we are. Interesting side note. We, as you can imagine, often get compared to our neighboring school districts, the El Paso Independent School District and the Socorro Independent School Districts. We couldn't be more different. Because of the residential development, right, in the Socorro Independent School District, their demographic profile has changed dramatically. They used to be 8 out of every 10 students were socioeconomically disadvantaged. That number is now 7 out of 10. And if that kind of development continues, it will drop to 6 out of 10. They used to have 1 in 4 students who were EL, English learners. That number is now 1 in 5. They're closer to 10% in terms of the students that have special needs. Okay? And yet, I want you to go back and take a peek at your STAR EOC data, and I want you to take note of the fact that we don't make excuses. Those statistics will never define who we are, and we will perform as well, if not better, than some of the neighboring school districts. And I'm not trying to be critical of their programs. They've got good programs. The Socorro Independent School District is a good district. It's a strong district. But demographically, we are on 2 different planets when it comes to that profile. Academic achievement, performance-wise, we're right there. And it happens in the 4 corners of your classrooms. We've got a lot to be proud of, right? And I'll show you the EOC scores in a minute. All right? So then they said, okay, well, that's domain 1. You're getting kids to pass a state standardized mandated test. That's terrific. Here's what's going to be different for all of us, but especially for your principals and for you. Domain 2 has to do with growth. And here's the best way I can describe growth to you. All right? You teach 4th grade. Let's say you teach 4th grade math. And you look at your roster, 22 students, 24 students, and you've got some students that read at the 2nd grade level. And you know and you recognize, and for years, you've helped those students move to the 3rd grade level, maybe to the 4th grade level. Some of your students read at the 4th grade level, and so you take comfort in that and you work with them. But in the past, if you had a 4th grade student who read at the 7th grade level, right, you may pay less attention to that student because he's going to do or she's going to do really well on the 4th grade reading test. For crying out loud, she reads at the 7th grade level. Under the new accountability system, every single student counts. What I mean by that is, yes, you've got to get those 4th grade students who read at the 2nd grade level to move a year at least, preferably more than a year so they can catch up with their peers. You've got to maintain the performance that those 4th grade students who read at the 4th grade level have secured. But here's the tricky part. That student who reads at the 7th grade level cannot be ignored any longer because the state expects that student to read at the 8th grade level after having spent a year with you. So he can come in and he can blow up that test, that 4th grade reading test. He can perform at the mastery level as he should or she should. But because we didn't move that child from the 7th grade reading level to an 8th grade reading level, you lose points. That means no one gets ignored, which is the way it should be. But it's a challenge. It's a challenge. That growth domain, domain 2, will be the game changer for us. Then what they do is they take our performance, which I think benefits this school district, and they find schools, right, that have a very similar or comparable demographic, and they're going to compare us to those schools. So it's an XY axis: socioeconomic disadvantage, performance. So we'll be compared to schools who have some of the same demographic profile that we have. And so here's an example of what that will look like. So if you got a school performing well and 65% of their students meet or master a standard, but when compared to schools that have that same demographic, they're on the lower end of the cluster, right? They're going to be seen as underperforming. Whereas if you have a school that only has 40% of students meeting or mastering the standard, but they happen to be on the top end of a group of schools that have a similar demographic, they're seen as high performing. And then domain is college career readiness, right? So the new accountability system, the best way to just reduce it down to its finest point is every single student counts. So how do you address that? Principals, right? They have to understand it intimately. More importantly, they have to have access to the data. You have to know where your student is when they enter your classroom. You've got to determine how far you have to move that child in whatever content area, right? You have to determine how you're going to move that child, because you're going to be assessed, we're going to be assessed for achievement, growth, and elimination of an achievement gap, and then ultimately how many of our students are college, career, military ready. They take all of that, put it together, which is what they've done, right? And in year 1, this school district received a score of 84, and we are a B score, one of 300 plus score B districts in the state. Next year, it will not be limited to the district. Next year, they will publish, and I think I may have shared this with you, either on the webpage, TEA webpage, or in the back of the El Paso Times. Again, alphabetical order: Anthony, Ysleta. I think we should be on the T's, the district, but they're going to put us under Ysleta. It takes some people a while to kind of catch on. And there in the lower right-hand corner, parents are going to go zoom right before they go to the baptism especially. They want to know how their kids or where their kids go to school and how that school performed relative to other schools. And right by that school's name, I've told you before, in probably green or blue, there will be an A or a B. Anemic yellow will mean a C. How many of you came here to be average? The lights are off. Go ahead. Right? A D will probably be orange, but not minor orange, some other orange. And then, of course, the F will come in a bright red. Because, again, they want a parent to be able to quickly move down the list and say, wow. And it can be wow, or it can be wow. Honey, unload the kids. We're not going. Bring them back in the house. Right? So we're doing well. We're doing well now, but it's a new game. And I hate to tell you, but it's gotten more difficult. Teaching is hard work to begin with. They've made it a little more challenging. But here's the nice thing about it. It's no different than every other faculty and staff is going to face throughout the state of Texas. You're better than they are now. You'll keep better than they are. Keep being better than they are. The board and I, the folks I introduced you to, are going to make sure that your principals, your leadership team, the faculty, staff have all of the resources that you need to be successful. and we're going to be patient. It's new to all of us. It will take a little time, but if this year's performance is any indication of what the future holds for students in the district, we're going to be fine. We're going to be better than fine. Today really isn't about getting you worried. Today's really about congratulating you and thanking you. Very few schools came out a B right out the gate. And you know, you're going to have the A's. The A's are going to be your Eanes ISD, Travis, Highland Park. We've talked about that. And I've told you, those kids, those children, God bless them, they deserve the very best, right? Can probably afford a mediocre or marginal experience or teacher once or twice during their time in school. Our kids, our children, cannot. Everything we do must be intentional. It's by design. And here's what it will come down to, and I really believe this is true. The single most important attribute, and it's not easy, the single most important attribute anyone can have is self-discipline. It's having a vision, in other words, knowing what you want the future to look like. So I talked to our leadership team and I said the best way to really capture that is to say, what isn't true today, what doesn't exist today, what isn't real today that you would like to work and make real in 3 years or 5 years? That's the simplest way to describe vision. What doesn't exist today, what isn't real today, right? What isn't true today that you'd like to see become true, real, and exist in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? Whether it's a new Del Valle Middle School, whether it was a new Eastwood High School, you have to have vision. And vision, by the way, is not exclusive to me. I don't get to decide our vision. I work with the governing board, I work with the community, I work with staff and faculty. We have to decide what isn't true today, what isn't real today, what doesn't exist today that we want to contribute to this generation and this organization. Part 2, how do we get there? Blueprint, plan, map, call it whatever you want. And then 3 is what I just mentioned. Do we have the discipline, the self-discipline to make it happen? And the best way to describe discipline is this. You know what you need to do to achieve the outcome. There will be days, hours, where you'd rather do something else. But you do it anyway. And you do it over a long period of time. Discipline is also, there is something you shouldn't do. You shouldn't accept, you shouldn't tolerate. But you'd like to accept it and tolerate it. But you don't anyway, and you do that over time. The simplest, I guess, analogy or illustrative way to describe that is weight loss, right? Most of us know what we should do to lose weight, right? Most of us can do it for at least a period of time, but the first day or the second day or maybe the 10th or 12th day where you'd rather do something else, where you'd rather do that chocolate shake, you do it. That's true about everything in life. And like I said, it's not easy. Self-discipline is the most important attribute we can have as individuals, and it's the hardest to attain. And that is true of organizations. Our ability to reach our goals, and we've set some, I think, pretty bold goals for our kids, is if more and more of the people sitting in this room can commit to, dedicate themselves to doing the things we need to do for our students, even on those days or during those periods or during that time frame when we'd rather do something else. Don't do it. If you commit, and by the way, commitments like ham and eggs, the pig is committed. The chicken participated. Big difference. It took you guys a while. I'm a little worried about the 18-19 school year. I'm not. We're going to be fine. But you have to commit yourself to that. So when I talk about discipline, I'm talking about discipline as an organization, because this A to F rating system is going to get weary, and it's going to irritate you sometimes and frustrate you, because we're responsible for every single child in the room. And that's okay. So is everybody else in education in the state of Texas. So let's set that aside and leave you with that. And again, let's just celebrate the fact that we're a B school district. Not all of them are. There are quite a few F school districts. Let's celebrate the fact that we went through and we projected the grade that every school in this district would have received if we were a year into the future, and found that there are no D schools and there are no F schools. We don't do Ds, we don't do Fs, right? That's not true. That's certainly not true in the neighboring school districts. I just took the liberty to project theirs too. Just because I was curious. God, it's not about competition. I'm just curious a little bit. So how do we do with end of course this year? Check this out. I put them to sleep. End of course, English 1. Slow down on the bar. End of course, English 2. Now remember what I told you. Demographically, we're not the same. Demographically, we are compared to school districts with what some people may say historically has been a more challenging demographic, but we don't let statistics define who we are. Kids get our best every day. English 2. Next. Boom! Aside from having taken a few mariachi teachers from some neighboring school districts, just a couple, this one also gives me a great deal of pride. That's over 90% of the students in this school district, whether they do it in the 8th grade or they do it in high school, at the very least approach. Now, I don't know if we have that data, but I will tell you that over half of our students, or right at 1 in 2 of our students, meet expectations in algebra. And at some schools, that number is far higher, and I can tell you that we're far, far out ahead of regional school districts when it comes to mastering algebra. We have cracked the code relative to what we need to do in the 4 corners of an algebra class for our students. What we need to keep working at is English 1 and English 2. That is a derivative of English language acquisition first, academic language acquisition second. And we're going to work hard to do that. And keep in mind, 1 in 4 of our students are either non-English proficient when they come to us, or at best limited English proficient. Doesn't matter. The numbers will go up when it comes to English 1 and English 2. I promise you that. Keep going. Biology. Congratulations to the biology teachers. And social studies. History. All right? Now, I will send one little message out to our high school faculty, and that is, high school students are assessed in 5 areas. All right? So 5 departments, maybe 5 groups of teachers, right? The algebra teachers are responsible for algebra. The biology teachers are responsible for biology. What I would suggest to you is that all teachers at every comprehensive high school or special high school campus have a responsibility to help teachers who work with students in those content areas improve academic achievement and performance. It's not all their responsibility. Everybody come together and support them in those 5 areas, and we'll do terrific things. And there's a way to do that. There's a way to do that. Right? Everyone can be a reading and writing teacher to some extent. Everybody can help the algebra faculty, right? Whether you're a physics teacher or a physical science teacher, there are ways you can help support those teachers who are charged with improving algebra scores. That's what we do well. We spend almost $10 million a year to make sure that you have a PLC period, a period where you and your peers can come together and disaggregate data, spend time together, talk about lesson plans, pedagogy, how to leverage technology, all of those things, and it's worth it. But it's only worth it if that time is being used in the way that it was designed or intended. And that starts at our middle schools and runs through our high schools, and I think it's a big reason why we're so far out ahead when it comes to performance in a number of those areas. Next slide. We've got some schools that, as part of this comparable study, have the opportunity to be designated distinction designations, right? Here are the 6 that we have this year. Let's give them a round of applause. Congratulations. We have any number of schools, by the way, that received, 5 out of 6, 6 out of 7. Good performance, because as I said, very few districts perform as well as we do in 2 very specific areas, and that is how we do with English learners. We're the model for the state. We get people visiting all the time. They want to know how is it that you make great progress with EL students, and our special ed department is phenomenal, working with students who have special needs. And in our district, that will move the academic needle faster and farther than anything else, and that is moving it when it comes to our special ed students and giving them an amazing experience, moving the needle when it comes to EL students, especially in the area of English language arts, reading and writing, right? And then moving that needle when it comes to poor students and helping them change the trajectory of their life forever. And all we got to do is get one of them to get into college and graduate, and then every generation in that family from that point on will go to college or certainly have a better post-secondary experience than that family has had ever. So that's what we're playing for. Next slide, please. Blue, National Blue Ribbon School. Every year, right? One of the best early college high schools in the state. Paul Covey does a great job. His faculty and staff do a great job. I know, very little turnover out there. Just saying. All right, so recently, they did this sort of recalibration, and they determined who's a 5A team, who's a 6A team, and so we've had a couple of schools move around. I honestly believe that the 5A division, both the large and the small 5A division, of which we make up a majority of the schools, will be the most competitive athletic divisions in certainly the region, but they could be the most competitive in the state. I expect no less than Eastwood, Bel Air, Del Valle. What I'm trying to tell you is, do not let any of those schools in the neighboring school district beat you. Don't let it happen. Right? I know you all can't come in first place, but don't you let someone else come in and take first place. Right? We invest a lot in our athletic programs. We've got outstanding coaches. We've got outstanding programs. Our weight training and conditioning off-season programs are among the best I've ever seen. I need you guys to go out and compete. Right? We got this. We got this. I'm going to motivate you. You can't have like 5 different uniforms anymore unless you get in the top 3. We have schools out there with like 5 different football uniforms. And I'm not pointing anyone out, Eastwood, but just kidding. They're really pretty. Have as many uniforms as you want, Julio. Rest of you too. But honestly, get out there. When you play one another, play hard. Be respectful to one another. Compete. Camaraderie. I mean, we're all in this coliseum together, right? We're the district. Play hard, play to win. When you play someone else, tighten those shoelaces up. Leave it on the field. Or those pretty buses I have parked out front, they may not be there to pick you up. The one thing that, in addition to athletics, the one thing that we take a great deal of pride in this school district is also the visual and performing arts, right? And so not this year, but next year, I mean, theoretically, you could have 5 schools from the same district go to state. Incredibly expensive, Miss Leeper, I know. But you could theoretically do that unless, of course, they won't allow every school to come from the same district. And there's some of that out there, but we've got a good chance of sending multiple schools to the state championships in San Antonio a year from now when it's the 5A cycle. But let's go back to this year where we sent an unprecedented 3 marching bands to the state. Hanks High School, Bel Air High School, and Del Valle High School. All 3 at the state. And I believe that Hanks High School had its best showing in district history, coming in 16th, followed by Bel Air, and then Del Valle. And Del Valle is a young group. And like I said, we think the investment's worth it. Academic achievement is important. Academic performance and growth are important. But so are athletics, the fine arts, co-curricular, extracurricular activities. And so we make investments. Have you seen my fine arts buses? Check these out. Is it up there? Boom! Doesn't it make you want to walk like Conor McGregor? You ever seen him do that little Irish walk? That kind of swag. And so the reason, I can't do it, I tried. I pulled a muscle. So the reason that we were blessed with those mariachis today, right, is for one thing only. We're going to start at Hanks with this new magnet program. And something tells me that these fellas are going to blow it up. Because the plan is that a year from now, you'll either see them perform again, but you won't see them perform without some of our students right by them. And if things move aggressively enough, the group you see perform next year will be the student mariachi group that we're ready to introduce this year. Now, I know. It's amazing, it's uplifting. I couldn't think of a better way to start today. It doesn't mean that it's exclusive to Hanks. All of a sudden, I've got interest from other schools in the district. And guess what? I'll invest the resources there too. But you gotta bring it. You gotta bring it because for the first time, the UIL has mariachi competitions. And I want this to be the Mecca, right? Where do they make mariachis? Oh, they make them in El Paso. Not just El Paso, right? I want every parent out there, whether they're from Anthony or Canutillo or Clint or any other school district, who love mariachi music and who think that Coco lives with them. Right? Everybody thinks they got Coco living with them. That they're going to do what people who love the Young Women's Leadership Academy do, that love Alicia Chacon do. They travel. And they bring us their best because we offer the best, right? And the truth is all of our parents bring us their best. Never forget that. That's their best, right? Good, bad, indifferent, embrace them. But we want this to be the Mecca. Next year, there will be a group of students up here performing in the same vein and very similar to what you heard today. Now, as good as Los Arietes or Arrieros, or I need a speech coach, right? I don't know, but that's the goal. That's certainly the goal. So we're going to do that. So we've got this little thing we know as a bond, and I'm going to move a little quick now. You've been sitting for a long time. Our bond really has gone pretty seamless up until now. Listen to me. Let me explain. All right? So we did a phenomenal job, I think, in terms of providing our student-athletes with the artificial surface at all 7 comprehensive high schools, right? Perimeter fencing, scoreboards, storage, lighting on baseball fields, softball fields, tennis courts. All of that went exactly as planned. Our schools and the safety vestibules, very timely, given everything that's happening in society. That was a great project. Kitchen cafeteria at Tierra del Sol and up at Desert Air enhanced that experience for those students, right? Well, next Monday, check out this school that's opening. Thomas Manor Elementary School will welcome 800 children from a community in a neighborhood that hasn't had a new school since the 1970s, when I was just a boy. Kind of. Right? Next Monday, now I'm going to tell you up front, it will not be 100% done. I'm a straight shooter. If I tell you something's going to get done in time and it doesn't, I'm going to tell you they're not going to finish in time. Now, the school will open, and there will be classrooms and administrative offices, and the cafeteria is complete, and they will have the visual and performing art wing ready, and they'll have a main gym ready. The athletic fields will not be ready. The library will be ready in a week or two, and so there will be a little bit of construction going on for perhaps a month after school starts. It isn't that uncommon, right? What is uncommon is that when I go out and I tell a community, not just one time, remember we had a bond that didn't quite make it and then we went out again. So, 250 meetings later having to look at this and telling people that every project would come in on time, under budget, the quality that faculty, staff, students, and others deserve and need to be successful. And all things being equal, we would rely almost exclusively on local labor. That didn't happen. We own it, right? Our program manager owns it. The general contractor owns it. Notwithstanding, 800 students will arrive on Monday morning. I don't know if this is a statement or if I'm actually praying out loud. 800 students will arrive on Monday morning, and they will, because Dana Derone has got an amazing disposition. You couldn't have a better principal to be late on a project with. He'll make it work. He and his team, his faculty and staff, they'll make it work, right? We got to get them moved in. We're going to work with them all weekend. We're having a barbecue Sunday night if you guys aren't doing anything. If you don't mind moving that desk into that room, that helps. No, I'm just kidding. That's been taken care of. But I'm confident. I'm so confident they'll be ready on Monday morning. I'm going to go see Thomas Manor. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to see both. All right? We're going to be okay. In addition to that, 2 new kitchen cafeterias. Lancaster, will it be ready? LeBaron Park? All right. And then let me tell you what's really exciting. In less than a year from now, Eastwood High School. Eastwood High School about this time next year, we'll be done. But the cool thing about Eastwood High School, I believe it may be 3 months ahead of schedule, is that that 3-story academic wing may be turned over to the faculty, to the administrative team, and teachers and students can occupy the 3-story academic wing in as early as April of 2019. So we can look forward to that. The last phases include the Oval, which is our administrative offices, counseling offices, that type of thing. And then, of course, the work we're doing on their brand new gym and on the Leslie gym. But 1 year from today, when you drive up McRae and take a right on Montwood, you can expect to see a brand new Eastwood High School that I think is unparalleled to anything that you'll see anywhere in the city of El Paso. It is a phenomenal, phenomenal facility. So congratulations to Troop. Additionally, in January, because both Camino Real Middle School and Valley View Middle School, the facility itself is starting to, okay, it's not starting, it's been crumbling and deteriorating for a long time. And so safety and security is a priority. We got to get those kids out. And so Del Valle Middle School will open this year in January. The principal of that school is Ida Perales, and she's going to be held responsible for both Camino and Valley View. She's got strong administrative teams. We're going to work all year, and we're going to get students into the facility by January of 2019. BTC, best builder in Texas. I catch a lot of grief for working with BTC so much, but they're proven, they're tested, they're the best, and they're putting forward some amazing buildings. And then guess what? We're almost to the end of our bond program, with the exception of some other smaller projects that deal with life cycle improvements, etc. But before we move on to that last project, that Mecca at Bel Air High School, we're going to call either a complex or a coliseum. Have you had a chance to get out to the high school football? Look at that. 2 stories. That's Yarborough that you're standing at. Now you're looking at it from the baseball field in the back. Modern marvel, glass and steel. And the reason for that is intentional. The gentleman that designed that, David Alvidres, also designed the facility at UTEP called the Durham Center, right? Hall of Champions. It's a pit gym, so they're actually going to dig down below the street surface about 20, 25 feet. You walk down, 2,200-seat arena. Second area has a concourse or a foyer with offices and other amenities. Top floor has a regulation basketball, volleyball. It's got a dedicated gymnastics facility, a dedicated... Atta girl, how do you feel about that? A dance studio and cheer studio, and the people that you see standing up there on that little veranda, right, are watching a varsity baseball game at Bel Air High School in the evening under the lights, right? And then I'll finish with, if you haven't had a chance, and I hope they're all operating, if you've seen the vision boards, the jumbotrons at each of the 7 high schools, that's taking it to the next level. And they'll promote the school, they'll promote the district, they'll secure advertisement. So remember when I said what vision is? So the vision of the folks here, mine and others, back when we arrived, 2014, and we've had folks join us that have just made us stronger and stronger every year. We've probably got the strongest governance team I've ever worked with. Asked ourselves, if I were to go back in 2014, what didn't exist, what wasn't real, what wasn't true back in 2014 that is true today? You've just seen it. A lot of things have happened in a very short period of time. Couldn't have happened without you. Can't happen without you. Leadership is not exclusive to me or anyone else. I need more and more of you to lead and take a leadership role at your schools and take responsibility, agency for what happens at your schools. And then in the aggregate, we will continue to move forward as the preeminent opportunity for parents and students, the district. Thank you and have an amazing, amazing school year. I am privileged to be your superintendent. Most fulfilling and rewarding experience I've ever had professionally, and I want to thank you for that. Have a great, great lunch, and then I guess you'll all go back to the schools and do your thing. Thank you.